The next thing I'd like to create is this handle here on the back of the gun. What first jumps out to me when I take a look at this, let's just expand this with Control Spacebar. What first jumps out at me is this bracket. I think that looks interesting. I'd like to create that. But as I look at it, I notice it's coming out of a cylinder. So I'd need to create a cylinder and then extrude this out. So if I'm going to create the cylinder for this, I might as well create the cylinder for the handle as well. So I think what I want to do is create the handle first and then extrude this out. So my point is, sometimes the thing that looks most interesting isn't exactly the thing you should begin with, if that makes sense. And I also see that as I work on this, this top is the same as this bottom. So as I work on the handle, I could use the mirror modifier. So as I work on the top, the bottom is automatically created as well. And then once I then extrude this out, I could apply that modifier, add a new modifier in the x-axis, and get the other side. So I think that sounds reasonable. Let's give it a try and see if it actually is. All right, so first of all, I may need to do a little bit of housekeeping here. It looks as if I've got these pieces that I just created outside of the vehicle main. I think what I'm going to do is just hit the B key and border select these objects in the outliner and then drag them up into the vehicle main right there. So they should all be in that group, except look at these. I've got the bolts hanging out on their own here. So let's go ahead and border select these, hit M to move to collection, and we'll choose vehicle main. And down here as well, let's go ahead and hit the B key and border select these, M vehicle main. Okay, so now we've got things cleaned up a little bit. Let's bring back the vehicle main. And what I want to do now is just select a few of the parts that I want to see as I create these. I think what I want to do is just have these things available here. Maybe this. Let's see what else we can see. Maybe this bolt here. I just want to grab a few things that will help me kind of get a sense of how big this should be, where it should be placed, etc. Maybe I'll grab the Windows 2. All right, so now that I've got all those selected, I want to hide everything else. And to do that, I can press Shift-H, and that will hide all the unselected objects. All right, so now that we've got just this part, what we need to do is create a cylinder and put it in place here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll move the cursor to the center of the grid with Shift S1 and then Shift A cylinder. Let's give this 12 sides, and I'll go ahead and take it down 0.1, 0.2, so it's pretty small. Oops, I missed that 0.1. There we go. And then let's bring it up and put it in place up here. So I'm thinking about right here, maybe? We may not know for sure until we actually create that curved bracket. But let's now spin around over here and let's hit S and Z and kind of scale it up a bit. And I feel like that's a little too thick. So let's press S Shift Z to only scale in the X and the Y axes. And maybe I'll do that. Scale it down a bit. And I think that's about right there. Let's give this a try. Now what I want to do is split it. I want to be able to edit the top and have the bottom be mirrored in the Z-axis. So let's go ahead and press Control-R and create an edge right down the center. I'll press Alt-Z to see through it. And let's border select this part down here and delete faces. Now let's go ahead and add a mirror modifier to it. I guess I could bring this back up here, huh? And if we go over here, let's add the mirror. Let's change it from X to Z, and there we go. And let's also turn on clipping, and let's turn on the edit cage on the other side. Okay, so now here we go. We could probably take this edge right here and maybe scale it out just a bit because we have kind of a curve out, kind of bulges out there. Let's also add an edge right up here, and maybe we could hit S and kind of scale that out just a little bit as well. So we get that slight bulge. All right, so now what let's do is tab into edit mode, and I'll go ahead and go to vertex mode here just so we can see the edges as we extrude. And I will border select this. And let's create this top piece here, these two pieces. So what I'm going to do is hit E and S and scale in a bit. Hit E and pull up a bit, E and S and pull out a bit, E and pull up like that. And then E and S, scale in, extrude again, E and S and scale out. Now I want to create that kind of top curved part. So what let's do is hit E and pull straight up. And then I'm going to press E again, pull up just a bit, and then scale in. E, pull up, and then hit S and scale in. Something like that. And then, if I recall, I think I created this with an N-gon. So what we need to do is collapse this. So I'm going to press E and Enter, and then I'm going to press Alt-M and merge these all at the center. And there we go. Now I want to take that one point and just pull it up a smidge, just like that. So we get kind of a curve there. Okay. It's a little too tall. I think we need to have it be a little smaller than the height of the gun. So maybe I'll just scale it down like that. And then what we need to do is think about how to extrude this piece out. So to do that, let's kind of make sure we're in the right place here. I feel like maybe around here. Let's give this a try. And if I select a few faces up here, let's just select these right here. Then what we should do is extrude them forward. Let's just do that. I'll go to the top view and I'm going to extrude it in the y-axis. So EY, and just pull out a bit. And then I want to flatten this, SY, and just flatten that up. Okay. So now that I've got that, what I want to do is extrude this and turn it right into there. And to do that, we can use a new tool. Actually, we can use this spin tool right over here. And if you look at the description here, it says extrude selected vertices in a circle around the cursor in indicated viewport. So what we need to do is move the cursor to kind of in here so it'll curve around that point. So let's click on our cursor tool here, and then let's maybe click right in here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we can then do some adjusting in the settings panel once we activate the tool. All right, so I've still got those faces selected, right? What let's do is come over here and click on the spin tool right here. And then what we can do is click and drag here, and it'll drag that out into a curve like that. Now, clearly that's not quite the way we want it, but we have all these settings over here that we can use to adjust the curve. So first of all, I want to make it 90 degrees. Let's do that. And second of all, we can adjust these center X and Y. We don't need to adjust the Z, but we can adjust these things here. If I click and drag on this, you can see I'll hold the Shift key. We can adjust where that center point is. And also in the Y as well, we can kind of bring that up a bit like that. So that's getting to be a little bit more like what we want. I'll reduce the number of extrusions or steps, and that's looking pretty good. Let me adjust this X a little bit here, and let's adjust the Y again. I just want it something like that. That looks pretty good to me, actually. So if we tumble around, you can see there it is, right? I think that's pretty good, so we'll just click on another tool here, and there we go. So now what we need to do is mirror it over to the other side and connect this up in the center. First of all, let's go ahead and apply the mirror modifier for the Z-axis. We'll come over here and click Apply. And then what we can do is move this origin to the center of the grid. Let's move the cursor first, Shift S1, and let's move this origin to that cursor, set origin to 3D cursor. And then let's mirror this over in the X-axis. So mirror X, let's turn on our edit cage, let's turn on clipping, and there we go. So now what we can do is take these faces once again, let me hit the period key and zoom in, and we can extrude them into the center so they merge together. Now, remember that if we have these faces here and we merge these together in the center, we're going to get those interior faces. So what let's go ahead and do is let's just hit X and delete faces. And then let's go to edge mode and press Alt and click here and Alt and Shift click here. So we're only connecting those edges up. So now we can go to the top view, and it looks to me like, actually before I do that, it looks to me like this one is a little bit out of place. And let's grab this edge right here. There we go. And let's move this down just a bit like this. Yeah, so it's a little bit more in line there. And I guess we could also grab these points here. Oh, they're a bit out of alignment. So why don't we go ahead and undo this and grab these again like this and move them down. And I'll grab these here and move these out just a bit like that. There we go. So I just wanted to prepare that before we did any extruding. And then what let's do is extrude, hit E and X, and then we'll just bring that over and slam them together, and they merge because we have clipping turned on. All right, so there we go. I think we should apply our mirror modifier, and then let's move this a bit. Let me move the origin to the geometry, and I'll move it down a bit and into the back right there. Let's smooth it, see how it looks. All right, and let's come over to Auto Smooth, turn that on, and we'll drag it up just a bit, see how far we can go. A little too much there. How about something like that? Well, I like that there. Yeah, all right. So there we have the handles at the back of the machine gun. We're going to need to connect it up here with some pieces. But in the next video, let's add a bit more detail to the sides and the top.